Hello, you're watching session 19. Well, not sort of session 19. Didn't actually quite go as expected. But here's what happened anyway. It's going to be a fairly short video as it explains something quite negative and puts you up to date with what's going on. So, as you might be aware, there'd been some issues with some of the players towards playing the system, and even though we've got a new GM, one of our players still wasn't happy with the system, running it. Really, enjoyed more the direction that Dragon Age was actually going in and such. So we came into the next part of the story. So we were trying to track down the Ignato bloke into the tomb type place. And basically, we enter this area and we've got to go through these trials basically. And we came to a room and there was a load of bodies around an altar, and there's a book on the altar, and there's sort of like a way that leads on, and we all started reading the book, and this autoquill came up and inscribed something on our arm, this information. Something about the pious need not fear the flame or something like that, or whatever. And yeah, we all sort of passed except Kisdeen. That didn't work out well for her. She couldn't seem to pass it, and just kept getting blasted backwards through the room, back to the starting area. Someone healed her up. Yeah, Jerichus gave it a go and got her some health back. We finally managed to get her on through the corridor without getting completely annihilated, without getting killed. But yeah, she had been blasted all the way back to the doorway twice. It was pretty bad. But yeah, we finally moved down that corridor. We moved on then to another room, which was pretty bad. It had this pool of water in it, and all of these like growths, fleshy things around the wall were spewing all this crap out that was seemingly infecting the water with its filth, and there was an open door at the other end. So I was saying, well, look, let's just leave it all and go through the open door. Let's just leave it all and go through the open door. But players kind of thought, oh, there must be some sort of cue here. Yeah, Kisdeen went over to one of the things that was spewing this vile ichor of chaotic, demonic shite, and tried sealing it up with a las blade or something like that. It was an impromptu, device to actually seal the thing, and failed the test to successfully try and seal it. But really, the GM wasn't going to do just an outright no, you can't do it. It was going to give the the attempt, but then sort of explain that the thing's probably burst back open again, and maybe even spray stuff everywhere if But it didn't really come to that. The player failed the attempt of sealing it initially, and he said, well, do you know what? I don't know if I can really continue. I don't think I want to continue, really. I'm not happy with it. And it sort of just started off this discussion with the players. It sort of broke the session down. We went into a timeout there, and we all started talking about the system, really. So we ended there. That's as short as can be, right, guys? And from there, we just started debating what to do, because obviously this is session 19. We've played a fair few sessions of it, but we are in the middle of a story as well. It'd be nice to see sort of the outcome on that. Definitely, it just seemed very, very difficult for him to progress on with the system. But he was saying, no, do you know what I don't like about Dark Heresy? He decided was that the rolls are, the chances of success are stacked against you. You're always stacked to lose. And yeah, I can see that. Obviously, he'd got very unlucky in this one as well. A lot of things was happening to him, and his character does try a sort of left field approach of trying to solve things, go round things and solve them in an unconventional way. And I suppose his RP for the character is kind of clashing with the straight restrictions of the universe, and he doesn't like the fact that the universe is so dark as well and so grim. He says there's no joy to be had really there. Well, I mean that's a fair point. That's it is a grim universe. It's grim dark. There is only war in the 41st millennium. Humanity has had to sacrifice itself just to stand a chance of dying out slower than they normally would. The Emperor is he's sacrificed himself, and everyone's psychers are having to sacrifice themselves just to keep the Emperor going. I mean, it's a dark universe, absolutely, definitely. But I quite like that. It really gives it something unique that I don't feel that I would get anywhere else. It's a certain sci-fi bleak element that I quite like. You sort of feel like bleak sci-fi elements, the cold alien sort of terrain in things like Alien and Prometheus, and the sort of thing that it is just dark and bleak and alien, and you feel like you're out there all alone and anything could happen to you. So we ended up getting into this huge discussion about it. Really, we weren't really able to continue the session from there, but it was really about debates of whether we'd be able to even continue with Heresy with that in mind. Now, everyone wanted to except him, but we've already got Pete not turning up to games at the moment because he's not in a good way with himself as well. So the group's kind of struggling right now, to be honest. It really is. So Heresy-wise, out of the 5 of us that would be present, only 3 of us are standing up saying, yeah, we'll do it. I mean, I'd be happy to even run Heresy with just the GM and the 2 willing to do it, and say, well, we'll be a cell of 2. I mean, I know a lot of you guys do that, don't you? It's just like 3 of you, 1 GM and 2 party, just to sort of like see the end of the story. It'd be a bigger challenge, wouldn't it? But who gives a crap, really? I don't quite know what's going to happen, guys. I really don't. It's all so uncertain. So we got talking about what to do next and what we're going to have to play next, resultingly, because it's going to be too uncomfortable to carry on with Heresy, it seems. I mean, they're not ruling out the idea of coming back to it, but from what I can tell, it's going to stop here for now. Now, if that is indeed what's going to be happening, and it kind of does look like it is, then remember, this would be a great time for you to jump on the Dragon Age campaign. That's the one I'm GMing. Alright, so you can see my take on things and what I would do as a GM for a cool 3D6 system. Link on screen now for that. And I've done loads of videos for that. Just as intense, if not more intense, than Dark Heresy here. And I think it's a better game as well than Dark Heresy. How about that? Because it's moral choices. You can do the good thing or you can do the bad thing, and either one of those are permissible. And your groups could, the consequences of what they decide, stay with them, and then they carry on that path with those consequences and follow-ups. The GM's really encouraged to have follow-ups to those choices. Did they screw the guy and make the money now? And if so, then you might be sending bounty hunters after them at sort of this stage, that stage, and come after them directly and make their lives hard. So it really does encourage that element, but you don't tell the players, oh no, you're wrong. So it's really unrailroady. It's very nice, and it really does test your moral compass, what you would do, and that's the theme, I suppose. You could almost say that it restricts itself as a theme because that there's going to be some sort of moral choice coming up or something difficult like that coming up. But that's fun, isn't it? That's a great. If you're going to have a restrictive theme, it might as well be something really cool like that, yeah. So we're all just trying to work it out, really. I mean, my hope was to get a few more sessions of Heresy done and then move the guys on to Rogue Trader, but obviously this still doesn't get past the grimdark universe that our players been having problems with. I mean, maybe there could be a possible replacement for him, could step in. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just telling you honestly. I'm sitting here thinking what's going to occur next, and I don't know what's going to happen with Heresy. I do know that it was discussed what we should do at our gaming sessions now. We've been playing a lot of Mansions of Madness board game. We started to play that at sessions and here and there. We played, trying to bring some board games into things now. We've been talking about, you know, what other roleplay we could play. So I'm GMing one fantasy system. We're playing a fantasy system, so we don't really want. Well, I'm adamant that I don't want to start another fantasy system as well, because everyone else is fine, but I'm being the stubborn one there. I'm digging my heels in. If I play something in another fantasy system, if I roll that up, I'm investing my mind into two fantasy systems simultaneously. Like if we started up Pathfinder while I'm trying to run Dragon Age, and I'm supposed to roll a character for Pathfinder so Laurie can GM it, I'm going to be like, okay, right, switch on to Dragon Age, yeah, that's cool. Okay, switch on to Pathfinder now, yeah, that's cool, right. I can't invest in both. They're too similar. It's fantasy and fantasy, you know, it's swords and sorcery. That's what it is. They may be completely different, but they are both also that. Now, I don't know about you, that's the comment of the video, actually. Comment question of the day. How does that issue affect you guys? Do you find that would affect you similarly, that you wouldn't be able to invest yourself in like two lots of fantasy at the same time, for example? I'd be the same with sci-fi. Two lots of sci-fi at the same time. I wouldn't fancy playing, like, I don't know, Rogue Trader and Cthulhu Tech, and one of you guys actually recommended Eclipse Phase to me. I actually did take a look into that, and, you know, from hearing about the system, my mind just went pop like that. I looked at that and wow, it really actually, do you know what? From looking at the Eclipse Phase stuff, I suggest everyone that hasn't heard of it go look it up. If you like this sort of the idea of a sci-fi roleplay game, I don't know really anything much about the mechanics other than it's a percentile system. But what I do know is that the way they explain the future that happened on Earth and the sort of stuff that's happened there to put it to its sci-fi setting sounds so very plausible, like it really could be what would happen to us. And it does to me, at least, anyway. That sounds like a really exciting setting. So, comment number 2 below, guys. Have any of you played Eclipse Phase? Tell me, what do you think of it? Give me your detailed opinion on what it would be like, you know, as a GM and as a player. Left and the right hand answers there. I'm not sure who in our group would be best to GM that. You know, how much source material is out there? Is there very many ready-made modules, or is it very heavily much in the GM's responsibility? The one that's, it looks like prevailing, like we might have to move on to, is Cthulhu. Now, I know a lot of you are really quite excited about that idea, that we might be starting Cthulhu roleplay. Of course, it's not going to be the same sort of conventional thing if we do that, where we'd be like, oh, okay, well, you know, here's our characters, and let's give you character videos all about these characters, because it would hardly be worth it, because we're probably not going to keep them very long, because it would seem that every little thing you encounter in the game creates insanity. So it's just it's just that forewarning, really, that you're going to lose your character anyway. So that's, you know, the ending is already quite settled. You're going to go mad or die. That we know that already. That's it's just really, you know, like what forbidden things you managed to discover before that happens, I suppose. You know, just how good an innings you're going to get. Rather grim in its own way. So yes, you know, when we start that, as and when, maybe I'd be like covering that in a video series, but it kind of seems like we'll be actually moving on to Cthulhu. Also, maybe playing a fair bit of Malifaux and trying to get some miniature wargame skirmish games in, because the big pain in the ass is trying to set things up like Warhammer. You've got so many models. It was like 2,000 point games and that. And, you know, with fantasy the way it went, that 3,000 points was the encouraged one, where they wanted even bigger armies and things. It's just such a pain to set it all up. It really is. And yet, you know, just turning up with like 5, 6, 7, 8 models at most, and just setting up on a little thing, that's nice. It's a little gang, isn't it? It's a little crew. We've got some other games we can switch to. We can play a bit of Mordheim. We can grab hold of Blood Bowl as a Blood Bowl card game. I wouldn't mind having a go on that. Warhammer Invasion card game, that'd be nice maybe to take a look at. They're all on about playing Magic. I've got the WoW trading card game. We've got Necromunda we can play. I've not played that before, but one of us has got that. Yeah, so I mean, gaming doesn't always have to mean week in, week out role playing either. It can mean switching to something like that. But whatever it is we do, I'll try and give you coverage and keep it honest and keep it real. And Dragon Age thing's going nowhere, it seems. But until I know something else, I'll see you at the next video. Obviously subscribe so you won't miss anything, because whatever I do in all the various different elements I do, it'll drop into your subscription box and you can say, yeah, I like that or not, and click to watch it or not, because I do lots of different kinds of videos. But obviously being subbed, you won't miss them, hopefully, unless YouTube's doing that stupid thing. I always find myself having to go to everybody's channel sometimes and start looking backwards through videos. It's like, yeah, okay, I missed that one, thanks YouTube, thanks. The sub boxes are always broken. But anyway, that's why you'll sometimes see me do an announcement and do a little bulletin about a video. Oh, by the way, guys, yeah, don't forget I did this. Or I'll bulletin one of my other channel's videos or something sometimes. Right. Until next time, I'll see you at the table.